Hello, greetings to you. It's me, Thales. This is my channel about the English language. We cover topics ranging from basic to advanced English and also about vocabulary, English grammar, and business English. Right? We have 6 different playlists for you to choose from and more than 600 videos. I record videos weekly. I try to record every day, but sometimes it's not possible. As I get tired, I work during the day. Yeah, this is not a job, so I do this for hobby and as a way of practicing my English as well. So it's a good idea. I give you the opportunity to learn English for free, right? Many different topics. So subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell to get the latest updates and give the thumbs up. Just remember, basic videos have explanations in Portuguese and intermediate advanced ones only in English, such as this one. Let's get into today's topic. This is a video about advanced business English, okay? In which we we explore some topics about management. Okay, last video I recorded, I talked about hierarchy, okay? Companies, they have hierarchy. It's necessary, right? So that the job, the work and activities from people, they are well organized, right? To split the job, the workload with people and managers, right? You report to a manager, to a coordinator who is responsible for the area. So this is about hierarchy. But sometimes, you know, depending on how much flexibility you have in the company, hierarchy sometimes doesn't work. Of course, companies, they think about the advantages and disadvantages of having a strict, rigid hierarchy, or sometimes they just adopt a laissez-faire, right, style of management. They just let people do what they want. I don't advise companies to do that. It's necessary to have some control, right? It's advisable so that the work flows, but it's also important to give power to people. People must feel empowered enough to understand what their responsibilities are and that they are capable of doing their job without having someone just controlling them all the time. Well, sometimes hierarchy doesn't work because we have different departments, and these departments, they have different interests. So if you are, for example, if I work for this department A, for example, financial department, they are part of the company, of course, right? Part of a whole, but sometimes people think of their interests and they don't want to think too much about other departments. Sometimes they forget that they are part of a whole. They are part of a company. It's like the human body, right? Each organ, for example, your liver, your heart, your lungs, your brain, right? Each part of your body is responsible for a set of functions. And imagine if the liver starts working on their own, right? On his or her own, not, I would say its own. Imagine if the liver had its own life and wanted to work as they please. No. The brain gives commands to various organs because the body must work in harmony. So as the departments of the company, you may compare departments to organs of a human body. But in companies we have political matters, right? Departments, they compete for resources, right? They have their own budget, and each department wants more budget, more resources, they want more attention, they want more power, and more human resources as well. They want people, talents to work for them. It's just one example. Sometimes hierarchy doesn't work due to intangible aspects, right? Not necessarily is about money. Power, for example, is intangible. And when you have lack of flexibility and adaptability, the company has a problem as well, right? Is it important to have coordination and control? Yes. But when you have a center that controls everything, right? Nobody does anything without reporting to the center, right? Without reporting to a certain area. When this happens, the company lacks flexibility and adaptability. And this is important for every company. Every company must be flexible enough to have, to act when necessary, to shape themselves, to transform themselves into another thing. Because the market changes, the competition changes, and requires more from the company, right? So adaptability is key to everyone, not just companies, but we as our own company, right? You are your most valuable asset, and you must manage your career accordingly. So it's necessary to be flexible, to have adaptability, to be able to learn constantly, to forget some mindsets and to learn new things. So it's important. We transform ourselves all the time. If you are not able or capable of being flexible and to adapt yourself to various situations, you will fail, right? Okay. What is about being a manager, right? If you read some textbooks, some books say, a manager must be able to have an overview of everything that happens in the company. Yeah, it's true. When you work as an analyst or a technician, your job is more focused, right? It's more about knowledge, it's about procedures, methodology. So it requires a certain area of knowledge. You must master that thing. But when you are a manager, it's also important to understand what the business is about, right? It's not required to be a specialist. The main ability of a manager is to be able to overview everything, right? To understand how the company works, how the parts of these complex engineering works, and how you will steer the organization accordingly, how you will lead the organization to success. So this is about being a manager, but it's not as simple as that, right? It's never simple. It's more complex depending on the department. You need to be able to negotiate, to deal with conflicts, to give and receive feedback. It's more about social relationships rather than dealing with technical stuff. Well, when you study management, I studied management, okay? My graduation was management, and it was taught to me at some time, I guess it's the theory of classic management, that sometimes you have a gap between decision making and implementation, right? There is a theory of management that says that the people who make decisions, they are not the same ones who implement those decisions. And it works for some types of companies, but nowadays, not anymore. You take decisions, okay, you are responsible for taking decisions, yes, but you must involve your subordinates, right? The people who you manage, in order to take better decisions, right? It's impossible to have total control of the situation. As a team, it's required to do something different, right? Managers, they are constantly required to talk more, to exchange more ideas with subordinates. So people realize that you are doing something wrong when, for example, you say one thing and you do something different. What is the reason for such mistake, right? Because it's a mistake. If you say something as a manager and you do something different, you don't set an example, you don't set an image for the people who work with you. Would you trust someone who says one thing and does something different? I wouldn't. So there are some reasons, not every situation, but when you want to cover for what the management really wants, for example, you say one thing and you do something else because you don't want to say the truth. Maybe because the company doesn't want the subordinates to understand what's going on, but if the management really thinks that this will work in the long run, it ruins the organization, right? The people, the talents you have in your company, they will have a terrible relationship, and they, how can I say, they won't be happy with it. You know, company is not just about money, right? If you have a good income, a good source of income and benefits, okay, this is tangible. People value that, but it's not all about money. If you're not happy with the job, if you don't have a good relationship, if you're not valued by the management, if you give suggestions, recommendations, if you don't think your ideas are being taken into consideration in decision making, it's not good for you or the management. The company needs people who trust each other, okay? So it's advisable, right? Some recommendations. You have to accept good advice, good advice, and act emphatically to understand, to put yourself in other people's shoes, right? To understand what people need and how you may be able to help them. Because if you help people achieve their goals, they will commit to your cause as well, right? When people help me, when people do me favors, I feel comfortable in helping them. I want to help people who care about me. So it's the same. It works for the companies as well. Well, I want to say as well that sometimes subordinates or those who are on the margins, they try to tell the management they are doing wrong, they are taking bad decisions, they are not considering information that is reliable, good source of information. When people say that something is wrong, of course, you don't have to do everything people want you to do. It's not a job of a manager, but a manager must be able to listen and constantly have brainstorming with the team, right? To listen their opinions, their ideas. Not everything will be acceptable or something useful, but you may have an insight. People may be able to tell you something you weren't able to see by yourself. You see? So this is very resourceful, very useful to people. And the book I read before taking this video with you, it says that it's important to align decisions with the preferences of subordinates. When you take decisions together with the subordinates, your ideas are better accepted, right? Even when people, they take part in decision making, but the decision to do something or not is yours. But when the subordinates, they feel that they were listened, they feel that they were given value, they were taken into consideration, you listened, you really wanted people's contributions. When they realize that, they stick with you, right? They really stick with the manager. They recognize, they legitimate the manager as really a good manager, not just my boss, right? Boss is not a good word, but a manager, a people manager, a manager who is capable of building complex relationships with people and building a good environment so that everyone does their job well. Well, I said in some previous videos that companies, they have many kinds of capital. You have the financial capital, which is most important for companies who have stocks in stock market. It's very important. Companies, they exist to have profits, right? Other than non-profitable organizations. But in order to exist, every company needs money. It's important to have resources to buy raw materials, to hire the most competent and talented people. It's important to have a financial capital. But the most important capital, one of the most important, is the social capital. It's intangible. It's about reputation. Social capital is very important in companies because it's not important. It's important what you know. Yes, it's important. Is it important what you know? Your knowledge? Yes. But whom you know, the relationships you build with people is more important. Your reputation is the most valuable asset you have. Right? Because educational level, I have a master's degree, okay. But if you have a bad reputation, it doesn't matter, right? You want to get a position in the market. It's very difficult to go from an unemployment position to being well employed. Reputation is everything. The people you know, the relationship you build with people, the set of relations as well as knowledge, they must work together, right? I give an example of MBA students. What is the most important thing people seek when taking a course in Master Business Administration? Either in the US, Canada, or in Brazil, every business course, people value relationships because you can establish a set of relations to have contact with people from different companies, to have benchmark with them about many problems your company faces. So it's good. You can have partners that help, as sometimes they are your competitors. They work in companies which compete with your company, but you may establish a good relationship with them, learn from them, exchange ideas, have different sides. So this is intangible. It's the most valuable thing people take from a course like this. And another example is intellectual property rights, or when you talk about brands. So this innovation, people bring it to the company, but it's highly intangible, right? It's intangible, but it brings financial capital to the company. It's not just about intangible. You can bring money, bring capital, help your company evolve, right? Develop from constantly, when you have social capital, when you have intangible aspects helping your company prevail, strive from, and differentiate itself from the competition. Okay, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Keep in touch. Keep yourself updated. Watch my other videos. I have many videos about English grammar, vocabulary, basic business English with explanations in Portuguese. So I hope I helped you think about business, and see you next time.